This conference will now be recorded.
The time being 6:33, going to call to order the Tuesday, July 13th, 2021 meeting of the Tilton Planning Board. And our first case for this evening is complete site review plan of Old Yankee Woodworks. Planning Board case 21-08. It's continued from 8/10/21. And I believe we don't have anyone here this evening because they have to go to the zoning board. So I will entertain a motion to
Actually,
continue.
Jane, can we just take attendance out loud and just
Sure.
do a roll call, so we just. kind of have
Okay,
that on
we'll
the
do a roll
record,
call
if you don't
vote.
mind.
John, you want to start?
John Scanlon here.
Jane Alden,
Frederick Senna.
Tom Damon.
Thank you, Jane.
mhm. Okay, I'll entertain a motion to continue this case till the next time we meet, which August what?
8/10.
8/10.
August 10th.
I'll make a motion to continue planning board case 21-08 until August 10th, 2021.
I'll second that. All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, let's continue. Next case is site plan review for lot major for Maya Properties. Am I pronouncing that correctly?
Yes.
Okay. Planning Board case 21-01, 448 West Main Street, map U08, lot 11. And I believe I will make a motion to bring the application to the floor. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
No?
Usually.
Oh, okay. All right, you have the application in front of you. Let's review it. All right, it appears to be complete. Any comments? Then I'll make a motion to accept the application. Is there a second?
Second, Scanlon.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye,
Aye.
Aye.
thank you. All right,
Mark, you can come to the mic if you want
Okay.
to present or
yeah, if you
explain
would like
your
to present
application.
Sounds good. Do I sit or stand?
You can sit,
either,
you can sit.
whichever makes you
Yeah, you might
comfortable.
want to get that closer.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Mark Piekowitz. And about 2 years ago, I purchased 448 and 450 West Main Street. It's owned under Maya Properties, which my wife and I share ownership of. I've started a heating and cooling company at that location. It's called Energy Unlimited. I've been in the heating and air conditioning business my entire adult life, 40 years now, in Connecticut. So we moved here 2 years ago, and right now the property is an office. I have 2 rentals there also that were approved back. I have 3 shipping containers that are sitting there that I lease from PacFan, and I'm storing my heating and air conditioning equipment. I also have a couple service trucks that are sitting there in the lot. My purpose for building this storage shed is to put the vehicles inside, to put my equipment inside, and continue to try to grow the business in the area. We've been very lucky. We recently put a new boiler in at the firehouse. We also, the new development on School Street, we did about half of those houses there. So plan on growing a little bit and just need a place to clean things up. I do have some pictures of a very similar wooden structure that we built in Connecticut. And the size of that building is 30 by 60, just a couple
Pass
feet
them around.
larger.
Sure, I'll start with
Go ahead.
you and start passing.
Just a couple feet larger than what I propose to do here. Sometime for now, there will be no water or electricity or heat in the building. I do intend on doing permits and maybe next year or the year after heating the building and wiring the building, but no intention of ever water, anyone living there. It's strictly for storage of my business.
Are you making use of the garage and all that are there now?
There is no garage now.
Oh, it's down.
So I have the 3 storage containers that I'm using presently for storage. And the old garage that was there was actually turned into an apartment.
I was gonna say there
I
was an
saw it.
apartment.
Doug Rollins is who I.
They didn't get to see those, I'm sorry.
Did you want to see the building?
No.
No, I saw it.
Give it to
I
the
think
She
Can you
started.
it's okay.
I-
I'm sorry.
she saw it
I'm
already.
sorry. I thought they would like to look at it.
No, I saw it when.
Yeah, so it's a wooden structure with a foundation. A builder from Franklin, Fort Boy Carpentry Construction, is planning on building it for me. And the foundation done by Silver Lake Construction, also from Tilton. 2 builders that I'm actually doing work for, HVAC work, while they're building their homes.
You're not going to do any additional paving?
No, it'll be just a gravel driveway from the existing paved parking lot to the building, which will probably be about 100 feet of gravel driveway to drive from one building to the parking. Also, the merger of the 2 lots. The front lot is 1 acre with the existing structures on it. The rear lot is 5 acres of land that goes down to the Winnipesaukee River. It's wetlands, it's unusable, it's very steep. So that's why I intend on owning the property forever. So I was hoping to merge the 2 lots.
Has that been accomplished now, sir?
The
The
merger,
merger of the 2 lots
No, it's in your packet.
that's part of tonight.
is part of tonight.
Yes.
Okay.
Otherwise, he would have been encroaching on that rear lot as well, which with the merger, there'll be no setback. Right, we were a little close on the rear.
Yes. Yep, the rear of the building is, I own both lots, but the rear of the building is close to the property line.
Oh, I see.
For the
Okay.
rear lot.
Yep.
So I figured if I just merged both lots,
We no setback issue, because the issue is if you ever sold that rear lot, then you would be.
Correct.
So this is the simplest way.
I'm looking at the poor boys' construction plan here. And what it says is trusses for specs 30 by 10 pitch roof, 30 foot wide by 10 pitch on the roof.
yes,
And my concern is are those trusses going to be bearing over the studs? Or are they going to be 16 inches on center, or are they going to be another dimension?
16 inches on center
Okay, okay,
with a foot overhang on all sides.
okay, that's good. That answers my question. And the other thing is the concrete. You're going to have the two rows of rebar on your footings. Those are going to be vertical, am I correct? They're going to be this way, right?
Yeah, I'm not experienced in doing foundations or footings, but I'll make sure that the
You want.
fellow that's doing the
You want.
Yeah.
footing will know that. So yes,
Yeah, but, and then you're going to have a frost wall above the footing.
correct.
And they're going to be, those rebar are going to be tied to the rebar that's in the footings.
Correct.
Okay, okay, that answers my question. Thank you.
I wanted to get that frost wall up,
Okay,
I think 16 inches above grade.
yeah, and those are, I'm just curious, this is my plan, I'm curious, where those overheads are going to be located, on the side of the building,
The overhead doors
Yeah.
will be located on the front of the building,
on the front? Okay,
on the shorter dimension, on the
Thank you.
28-foot dimension.
And you're not going to have any signage change? You're not going to have any lighting change? Is there going to be any lighting around that building?
There will probably be a spotlight on the front, shining down on the front, on the driveway area where the garage door
It
is.
has to be downcast. You understand that?
Yes. Mostly for security, but the building is set back off of West Main Street, pretty much in the backyard of this property. But yes, the light would be facing downward.
I visited your site on Saturday. You already started digging, am I correct?
We dug
Dug.
to see how the dirt would hold up.
Yeah, okay.
So if for some reason I'm denied, I'm just gonna have to fill that dirt
Oh,
back
no.
in.
And we do have a site plan approval from the fire department. Does everybody have a copy of that?
Yeah.
Okay. Are there any more questions from the planning board? John?
It's a flat lot, I'm not familiar with it.
I'm sorry?
Is it the lot flat or?
Yes, very flat. From West Main Street, there's the current building, number 448 West Main, which is a 120-year-old colonial, which is the office. And then it slopes down gently, just a few feet, and then the entire backyard is very flat.
John, you know where it is, don't you? The old PMU?
Oh, okay,
Yes.
Okay, and then the limousines where they have the limousine company?
okay.
That's where it is, okay? That's a very flat into that.
Very flat in the back.
Yeah.
And then maybe behind the building, another maybe 100 feet or 80 feet, it starts to drop off, and then it's wetlands that goes down to the river.
Any other questions from the planning board?
Yeah, so I guess one of the concerns is when you make a building that heavy downpour rains around the perimeter of the building, get the water, would that water run off somewhere, or we could be putting in some big trench or gravel?
I don't, because of the pitch of the roof, and I'm comparing it to the building that we built in Connecticut, no gutters, but I'm gonna put stones along both sides of the roof with a drainage pipe heading toward the back of the lot. So any runoff off the roof will hit the stones, go into a drainage pipe, and then go backwards on it.
One of the things is not to have it as a drain that will run out, create like a stream to it that goes to the wetlands. as opposed to, just soaking into the ground.
Yes, yeah, it's all, Tom, you visited the site, it's all sand there.
In orders, yeah.
It is really just deep.
And how close is the wetlands? The wetlands is back a bit, isn't it, from there?
It is.
Quite a ways back.
That's what I thought.
But the fellow that dug for me just to see what it's gonna look like, said it was the easiest digging he's ever had because it's like a big sandbox. So drainage will probably just seep down into the,
Until he finds that one rock.
Any other questions? Well, I'm going to open it up to the public. Are there any questions from the public? Then I'll close it to the public. Anything else for the planning board?
I don't have anything else on this.
And Leanne, should we do both the lot merger and the,
I would like you to do the lot merger at this time, yeah?
Okay.
Yes, two separate, yeah, you need two separate motions, and then you can sign that, and we'll get it to the registry of deeds.
okay. Well, I'll make a motion to accept the site plan as presented.
I'll second that.
Any comment, discussion? All right, all in favor?
I,
Aye.
Aye.
All right. Now, next I'll entertain a motion for the lot merger.
I make a motion to accept the lot merger of, so where's the final board case here?
Do you want it right here?
Right here.
Case number. I make a motion to accept the lot merger of tax map number 408, lot 11, book 3264, page 935, and tax map number 408, lot 11B, book 3264, page 939.
I'll second that. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
I,
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Good luck.
thank you very much.
And we're gonna get rid of that back address mark, and we're gonna get rid of that back lot number as well. There's nothing on that back line, right? Right, so it's just gonna become,
The existing apartment is 450 West Main Street, but it's part of the front lot. So the front lot is actually 448 and 450 West Main Street.
okay, that's all lot 11.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, the next case is site plan review for Camaro Heaven, planning board case 21-11, 112 Clark Street, map R26, lot 69. Proposed site plan to construct a 60 by 80 storage building on the existing property. And I believe that you have an application in front of you. I'll make a motion to bring the application to the floor for review.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
I,
Aye.
Appears to be substantially complete.
I didn't see anything else. I didn't see anything wrong with
Make a
that.
motion.
I'll make a motion to accept the package as complete.
Is there a second?
With seconds, Ellen.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay. All right,
Chuck,
Chuck,
you want to come up and explain?
Thanks. Deer in the headlights. I guess, Mike, do you have any questions or,
Why don't you just explain
Why
why
don't you
you're
explain?
doing it and what you're building?
the building that I have right now, is basically, the business is outgrown. We're looking to add on to that building, put an addition in the back side of it, basically almost splitting the building in half, going out 60 feet back. There's an existing pad that I put in last year, and then going back 80 feet towards the property line, like behind it. The main purpose is to have inside storage. I'm also looking to, I have one lift, one bay in the shop that I have now, but it's just, it limits me the ability. I don't do any service. I just do auto parts and sell used cars. So my goal is to actually have 2 more bays in there. I want to have 3 bays, but 2 working bays and 1 essentially storage bay to get back to the storage unit so I can store parts inside. Ideally, so we can dismantle more stuff inside than being outside. With New England weather, it's kind of changes, I guess. So winter times are really tough. It really slows production down. So that's my intention of the,
And you're gonna get rid of the buses?
there's a row, I don't know if you can see the aerial, but there's literally a whole row of buses there that we use. It's been there, I guess, when my dad was there for storage. And I'm gonna remove all those buses, just eliminate. They were free and they worked, but they're really not ideally the ideal storage. So not only that, there's going to be a few other trailers that are, storage trailers that are on the site that we're going to be also eliminating. Not all of them, but the majority of our storage we want to put in those to the building. It will have power in the building, and it will have heat, but no plumbing, no water. The existing business that I have now doesn't have water, plumbing in it. Essentially it'd be an extension of that. It'll be literally attached to the back of this building. There'll be cutouts. There's a door right now in front of the building, and then door in the back as far as overhead door. Those doors will continue to be there, but there'll be a cutout in the new building. So it'll, like, when you open that up, you can go right into the other.
question, planning board.
Same thing with, drainage coming off of the roof. I think you have a little slope there.
Yeah, that's what we have now is essentially just the stone. When it comes down, it soaks in. I mean, obviously, there is sand, ledge, you know what I mean, everywhere, but I don't have a problem with water runoff now, you know what I mean, in the situation that I
It'd
have.
just be like trench with gravel in it. So
It's just,
soaks
well,
right
stone,
into the
right,
ground.
that's what we're gonna put, like stone in there, or just around basically the 2 dock sides, yeah.
And you did go to the zoning board and I see that they approved.
We did. or
Non-conforming.
I did, yeah.
Have you had the fire department come in to,
I have not, but I have no.
that will be, you will need to do that.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, that's no problem.
Well, they'll need to sign up on the CO. They'll get the plans from the building plans.
Right, any other questions from the planning board? All right, I'm gonna open it up to the public. Any questions from the public? Seeing none, I am going to close it to the public. Do we want to add any conditions other than making sure the fire department's there? There's not going to be any plumbing? No? Okay. You're not going to do any changing of the lighting or the snow storage or anything like that? You're actually going to clean up a lot on the lot?
That's my
Right,
intention.
okay. All right. Well, I'll make a motion to accept it as presented with the exception of having the fire department sign off on it. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 All right.
All right. Thank you, John.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. All right, the next order of business is a site plan review, conditional use permit for U-Haul Company of New Hampshire. I understand that you don't have permits yet, is that correct? From DES?
Correct.
Okay. And, have you been to the zoning board?
Yes.
And you have to go to the Conservation Commission. And I know that they have asked for an extension
He has
to
that. He
gather
has that.
information.
There's a conservation's request.
Okay.
I don't think it was in the packet. If it was,
I don't need that.
If it
It's not,
was-
I don't think it's in the packet, but I don't need it. I already got
I
it.
marked it in the mail. That's that. And then here's our engineer's review. Just came in. I know that's not in the packet.
Thank you.
You must have gotten Steve's. Okay. Here you go, Tom. That's
Thanks.
our engineer.
And I guess my question to the planning board is how do you want to review what we have now? Or do you want to continue the case until after they've seen the Conservation Commission and gotten the permits from DES?
We could just present basically what the scope of the project is, any situations that you're dealing with, how you're dealing, signage and all that sort of stuff.
Okay. Okay. And we'll go through the application and everything after we get the overview.
So we can't set up like this into this.
It's fine, because it's a public meeting, that people need to see if they can.
So it's been determined that the plan is complete.
They didn't do that.
Not yet. They asked if, Janice asked if we had accepted the.
No, we're not going to. We're not going, we're going to do that after everything's in order.
Thank you for hearing us. My name is Jeff Lewis from North Point Engineering. I pick up the-
Yeah, I think we can pick it up, or maybe put it right here, we'll reach here, maybe we should be able to pick you up.
Unless that works for you folks. Jeff Lewis from North Point Engineering. I'm the civil engineer working on the project. This is Brian Congo from U-Haul. Brian and I have been working on this project for several years now. We met with Leanne, I think a couple of years ago, and even her predecessor, Dari, before she was here, trying to get this to come to fruition. This is the U-Haul site. I'm going to assume that you folks are relatively familiar with that. It's right here on the plan. They own, it's about almost a 13-acre parcel that they own, so it's much bigger than what you see when you drive by there. Obviously, Lockmere is right here to the north on this plan, going north to the right. Lockmere driveway entrance, interestingly enough, is actually runs across the corner of the U-Haul property right here. probably doesn't seem like it because it's on the other side of the power lines, but it is, their parcel extends way over there. And then they have the power line easement that goes right through here, and then they basically have the development over here. That site has been there. We've been trying to piece together some of the history on that existing facility. U-Haul's owned it, I think, back into the early 90s or mid 90s. Prior to that, the existing, there's a 7,500 square foot building, metal one-story building right there. It was built sometime prior to the 80s. I don't know when. I think that some of the town records have gone missing. We haven't been able to put all the pieces together, but that building was there as a retail building originally. And then around the time U-Haul acquired it, they converted it to a self-storage. It was just an indoor self-storage building here. None of the buildings in the back were there. And they built what's really the caretaker apartment, which is a small wooden house. There's a caretaker who lives there on site. And then the first floor is kind of the office and small retail area for U-Haul. And then they added on the conventional outdoor self-storage buildings that are in the back. So that's the way that it's kind of been for 20 plus years out there. Brian's company, U-Haul Company of New Hampshire, operates all of the U-Hauls in the state and beyond, or just the state? I just New Hampshire. The property owners for the property is actually a holding company of U-Haul, corporate U-Haul, which is located in Phoenix. But Brian runs the whole operation here and all the other facilities in the state, so he's got pretty good experience in this. They have two components to this facility: the typical U-Haul rental trucks and rental equipment, as well as the self-storage, which they're getting at a lot of the facilities, which is really the thing that's in need here a lot all over the state. So that's the existing facility. It's about 13 acres. Several years ago, they purchased the two adjacent lots to the south right here. This small lot is just about an acre. It's got frontage right on the road. And there's an old single family house right there, ranch house. It's still there. You drive by it right on the road. That will obviously be coming down. Brian's been doing some cleanup of the lot and started some clearing out there a couple of years ago, just in some of the wooded area on this parcel here. And then there's a separate parcel, which is about 3.5 acres in the back, which is all wooded, goes up a steep hill in the back. There are some wetlands on that, a couple pocket wetlands, nothing that's of significant value, but there are some wetlands on that property. So the plan is to merge these three parcels together. We wouldn't be doing that until after we have approval from the planning board. So we'd be looking for that to be a condition of the approval. And then that would allow us to move forward with the expansion of the facility, which I'm just going to show this real quick. This just shows, and this is your site plan overview. I think you have copies of the plan. Mm-hmm. So this just shows what's going to happen here. I'm actually going to zoom in on that plan, pull it up right here, just because I have it in color. So if we zoom in here, you can see here's the existing facility over here. They have one driveway entrance off of Laconia Road. It comes here and serves that site. Brian's got some paved area in the back where he stores vehicles, and he stores some of the U-boxes back there now. In a small. Yeah. So he's basically outdoor storage and vehicle storage over there. He's got another gravel area over here on the side under the easement. So he's kind of busting at the seams for room on the site. So what we propose to do is have another driveway entrance way over here on the new parcel that comes in, and it's going to access this new building, which is an 86,000 square foot building, which has multiple uses in it. The best way I can describe it is if you take about 2/3 of the building over on this side to the north, is going to be a 3-story building. It's going to be indoor self-storage, climate control units. So people will come in, they'll kind of park in front of the building, they'll go into a main entrance right here. There'll be stairs and elevator right there where they go up and down. There'll be a couple overhead doors right here for people to come in if they're loading stuff from their trucks or vehicles. And then there'll be around 700 units you're thinking in there for self-storage, ranging from small closets, 25 square feet to 150 square feet or thereabouts. So a wide range of units in there, which will really help to expand the existing self-storage component of the site. The southerly third of the building is going to be what we consider a warehouse or light industrial warehouse. It's going to be open to the 3rd floor, and they're going to store their portable U-boxes, which is the storage containers. So you've seen those, very similar product right down the road here on the other side of the road from My Box, he has the same type of product. They store them all outside, just in their parking lot or gravel area. So Brian and U-Haul will be storing all those inside. So the way that works, and Brian can explain it better than I can, but they basically will bring those boxes. U-Haul will bring them to and from a site, to and from your home, your business, wherever you can load them up, or you come here and access them. They can get them down off the forklift, and you can get in and out of them. Is that about right?
Yeah, the idea of the warehouse wants a place where it's out of the elements, not outside. I'm familiar with My Box, I'm sure you guys are too. Go by, it looks like everything's everywhere there. You don't want that. Trying to do that. So if we can try and just put it in the warehouse.
Yeah.
Customers can get it basically shipped here from anywhere. They come tractor trailer with gold in, and simple, nothing's ever outside, it's ever messy, everything's done inside the warehouse.
Yeah. So that's basically the program of the building. We have a loading dock over here where he'll be loading and unloading the U-Box is into the warehouse component. And then we have parking in the front of the building. They want to have a gravel access around the back of the building just so they can get access to there. The fire department can get access to there. It'll just provide them another connection over to the back of their site here. In the front, we have some spaces for truck parking, the rental trucks. Because right now those all kind of cram into the front over here where there's not a lot of room. This gives them much more room and space so they can have people dropping off vehicles. It just provides a much better flow and circulation for the rental customers there. And part of the reason for needing that over there is they want to take this building and take the self-storage out of this building, at least some of it, and convert this back into a retail space. So right now they're just kind of confined in the little first floor here. So they'd like to take about half of this building or maybe a little more, and put it back into retail space with a service bay in it. So that will mean they'll have customers parking over in the front here near that retail space. So they really like to get the trucks kind of moved over there and over here. And then this would stay the caretaker apartment. The first floor would pretty much just become storage space for him, for the business. There would be no customers going there anymore. They'd all be directed into this building. So pretty much this will stay the primary entrance. People will come in, access this for all their rental needs, or if they need the U-Box, and then they just be going over here if they're going to their individual storage event. So that's kind of the program. We had a number of things to get through with the zoning board in terms of variances, which we just got this spring. We needed a couple of use variances. We needed special exceptions because we have multiple different types of use here. We have automotive rental. We have the self-storage component, which needed a special exception. We had technically light industrial warehouse is the U-Box storage area here, which wasn't allowed use, so we needed a variance for that. The building, I should show that to you. I know you have a picture of this, but this is just a rendering from his team in Phoenix of the building, and Brian can talk about that. The building height is 45 feet, being 3 stories. We're trying to have a roof that pitches all to the back, so it doesn't have any water pitching out into the front pavement where all the activity is going to be. So the height limit is 40 feet in this district. So we got a variance to allow us to go additional 5 feet. And then the other variance we needed was for parking spaces. It's a really unique use, and if we tried to do a calculation of the required parking spaces, and I forget what it was, 356 parking spaces for the use, which obviously you don't need, how self-storage was. We have 37 parking spaces, which is way less than 356. But it's what's needed on this site for the self-storage use. So the zoning board granted us that variance as well. So we cleared the zoning board. And now we're moving forward with what we call the final design, site improvement design. So we prepared a full set of design plans. We have a grading and drainage design, a comprehensive stormwater management plan, which I'm going to talk about a little bit. We have multiple permit applications submitted to DES. What we like to do is submit all those applications kind of at the same time, so we can be getting feedback from everybody, from the state, from the public here, from the planning board, from the Conservation Commission, and then just kind of address all the comments and come back to you folks, hopefully looking for approval. We did receive a letter from Keach Nordstrom, which Leanne just passed out to you, which is the town's consultant engineer. So I've had a chance to look over that this morning. Very typical, this is very typical type of letter we would get. I'm very familiar with Steve Keach from Keach Nordstrom. So I spoke with him yesterday and went over some of these comments. So they're all things that are good comments and things that we know we can address. So I look forward to doing that. And we'll be meeting with the Conservation Commission next Monday night, I believe. And I know they're interested. We have a wetlands application as part of this, which I can talk about briefly, that they're interested in. We're also have conditional use permits for you folks in addition to the site plan application. One associated with the wetland impacts and one associated with our proximity or location within the aquifer overlay district. So we need those conditional use permits in addition to site plan approval. I'm sure the Conservation Commission will be interested to talk to us about the provisions we're making in the design for protecting the wetlands and aquifer. So we look forward to doing that next week with them, and then coming back to you folks again, hopefully next month if we have all this stuff in order. So yeah, just I guess quickly, I don't want to take any questions that you have. We are impacting wetlands on the site. We need to fill these two pocket wetlands, which we call pocket wetlands right here, 4,100 square feet and 1,400 square feet. And there's another little tiny 230 square foot wetland over there. We're leaving the larger wetland to the south. We're not impacting that. We are less than 10,000 square feet of impact, so we're not into a major wetland permit. It's considered a minor permit from DES, so we don't need mitigation or anything like that. So we expect to have that, to get that permit from DES. We'll certainly have comments from them, from the Conservation Commission that we'll work with to address. But we are confident that we'll get that permit. We also have an alteration of terrain permit submitted. That's the big drainage report that we've submitted for the project. It has all the drainage calculations. The entire site slopes down towards the road. This is the low point of the road, low point of the site down here. So we have to work with gravity on a site like this. We have to have a detention basin down near the road. That's how this will work. So we have two stormwater basins on either side of the drive. This one being the larger one. It's all detailed in our plan set. We have a whole storm drain system of catch basins on the site to collect all the water, bring them down here. These are treatment basins. We've designed them as gravel wetlands, which is one of the options for treatment stormwater basin. It'll treat the stormwater, it'll detain the stormwater before it releases it downstream. Downstream for us is actually a culvert that goes under Route 11 right here. So all the water pretty much right now comes down and goes under that culvert. So we've done an analysis to identify that we're not increasing the flow of water to that culvert. We're treating the water before it goes back to that culvert. That'll all have to be reviewed by DES for the alteration terrain permit and DOT because we need a driveway permit for the new driveway entrance. So they'll be looking at the drainage design as well Steve Keach, who already has looked at that. So we have lots of eyes looking at this on our plans. And that, I should mention, that DOT application has been submitted as well as the two state permits. We also have a lighting plan we've submitted in here. It will be all downcast lighting, some building mounted, a couple pole mounted lights just to get some security lighting in there, basically in front of the site. I think I saw in the review letter that we had 20-foot poles, I think only 15-foot poles required, so we'll have to revise that.
Everybody bumps up against that.
So we'll be revising the lighting plan already to make sure we comply. We're not going to seek any variance from that. And then
And the septic is too close.
yeah, so the septic is interesting. The septic, there's an existing leach field over in this building which is failing. Basically, it needs to be replaced. So we're trying to replace it with a new system that takes into account the additional minor flow that's going to come from this building. I mean, this is very low intense use. He's going to have maybe, one or two employees on the site, and then we have this kind of transient people coming, a few people a day to access storage lockers. There will be a bathroom in this building, so we do need to connect it up to the septic. So we have a septic design plan. After we submitted to the planning board, we actually realized that there was a town requirement for a 125-foot setback from the leach field. We had designed it for the state setback of 75. So we have not submitted that application yet to the state because we do need to move that over. Or, which I need to talk about with Steve, if we replace this system, I think we can leave it there because it's a replacement system. And then we have to build a separate system for this. It's outside of the setback. So I do need to talk to him about that before we finalize that. So we do have some kind of loose ends that we need to work through, but we know we can fit it on there. It's a small, it's barely larger than a 3-bedroom house septic, because there's a 2-bedroom apartment here, and then there's a couple of the bathrooms on site. There's no other shower facilities or anything else. So we'll deal with that. The other comment that Steve had was regarding landscaping. We have not submitted a landscape planting plan, and we weren't aware of any requirements for that in the town, but we know that that's something that people often want to see. We have, a big building here that's kind of built into the slope. We have a big paved area out front, and then we're really using up most of our frontage with this detention basin. So that's one of the things we wanted to, I think his comment was to talk to the board about that and see what the thoughts from the planning board were, the public, regarding planting, because if we need to put some planting in there, we can probably find a few areas to do it, but it's not going to look like, the front of some of these retail buildings that are further to the south in town. It is going to, it kind of looks similar to this right here, where it's just buildings and pavement. So that is the one thing we would like to get some feedback. We probably have to tweak some, we could put some stuff in there, but it's not going to be a lot on the layout that we have unless we reduce the pavement, and that would kind of change the operation. And so we don't see that as gaining a whole lot. We will have a small retaining wall in front of these parking spaces, just about, not more than a 4-foot landscape wall. It's not going to be a big wall. We consider anything that's 4 feet or lower to be just a landscape retaining wall. So these spaces right here will kind of sit about 4 feet higher than the detention basin, which will be down here. So we don't have a water room in there to plant other than plants that could be in wetlands, since that'll be a wet. It won't be a standing water detention basin. It will be a kind of a hydric soil detention basin. So the ground will always be wet, even though it won't have water in it. And let me see, I'm going through this.
Do you have fire comments about the?
We do have fire comments, yeah. So fire comment, I don't think they had, what we wanted to make sure that the fire didn't have concerns about the access around the building. They do have comments about fire coverage, a fire hydrant, and concerns or interest in the fire suppression with the building. So what's typical with this type of project is the building design itself is not going to get too far along until we know we have a approval or a conditional approval from the planning board. Then they'll get serious about the building design, which will take a few months to put together. Brian started with his consultant on the fire suppression design. We don't have municipal water here or municipal sewer, so we have a well and septic. So the fire suppression to the building, including fire coverage for either hydrant or some other way that meets the fire department's requirements, is something we do need to still deal with. So we'll figure that out, whether it's on-site cistern or dry hydrant or something. We'll work with the fire department on that. I think our primary concern was that we didn't have any issues with access, concerns about access from the fire department, because that would cause us to move buildings or driveways. But if we're just talking about cisterns and systems in the building, we can work with them on that. And I think that's the only comments we have. I don't know.
That's one thing. I mean, you have a copy of this, right? Send it to you.
Fire, I have. Yeah, I have that.
Are you talking about Steve's notes?
No, I'm talking about Tim Schubert's notes.
Oh, okay.
Fine. You want to just tell them a little bit about your security system, maybe just to kind of stay with that, and then that's the last thing.
So when it comes to security now, I don't know if you guys are familiar with self-storage, or you're familiar with this site at all. Assuming if you've moved in the last 20 years, you're probably familiar.
Okay, guy, you have to swear it out.
Sorry. That's right. So basically now we have a security gate. So take your eye off this. We just have a security gate here. That is our security. That's minimum. That's actually what a lot of storage facilities are now. If this going on in this project, we're going to update our security. So each room will be individually alarmed. Each room inside this facility is individually alarmed. We're also going to add a plethora of cameras, probably 20 plus cameras for security in the property. Obviously, make sure my employees are safe, make sure my customers are safe, and any family that comes on the property is safe. it works. Someone comes in, they would swipe or click their clicker, it would check into the alarm system. If they don't swipe or anything and they go to open their door, the alarm will let the manager know, hey, someone opened their door without swiping in. That usually means someone's breaking into your unit. We don't really have theft issues now for anything for that. The reason why we're doing it, it's what the product is asking for. It's what the customers are asking for now. Individual alarm units, they're putting solar panels in, or they're putting whatever they store, whatever's important to them, anything. We want to make sure their stuff is secure. Especially this day and age with everything going on in the world, people are trying to take whatever they can to make money on. So that's pretty much our lighting and security. Everything is going to be basically based off the safety of our families, our customers, and our team. That's pretty much, it's pretty self-explanatory. When it comes to the elevator in the building, you'll be able to go to their floor only. You know what I mean? So they won't be in someone else's floor or anything like that. We have done this already. My last project, I know you guys probably don't want to hear about, but my last project was in Bedford, New Hampshire. We're pretty much designed a similar building of 1,000 units and individual alarm every unit. And I can tell you the customers, they're like, oh, it's through the roof. They love it because there's always someone watching. There's always something going on. If someone goes to get into the unit, we know what's going on in the building. There's no hanky-panky or anything going on crazy in this building. It's very secure. It's probably one of the most securest buildings in the state of Hampshire. So it's on our first rodeo. Pretty much, it's a pretty self-explanatory. Like Jeff was saying, where we are now, it's completely outgrown. It's old product. It's outgrown. We have now a field of just, I don't know if you guys are familiar with grass, dirt. The house alone, I want to add, is basically a shell. I went to go open the door and the whole thing felt like I was going to collapse in. It's bad. We're basically trying to beautify the area. Spoke to the neighbors already. They love the idea. It's coming. They like that, you know, something's going to beautify this area for what's going on. The community needs it. There's really, they need us to grow because we consistently have people coming in, families moving into the area, and we've outgrown the site tremendously. So that's pretty much it's if they don't go here, they're going to go spend their money or they're going to move somewhere else. You know what I mean? So I'm trying to help out with everything going.
The only thing I want to add, if we take questions, is regarding procedure. I think what we were hoping for today was just a acceptance of the complete application so that we could open a public hearing to get public comment if there was any, which we always want to do. And then we're not looking for approval or anything. We know we got to deal with the Conservation Commission and come back. And I think from an ideal process for us would be is if we can address everyone's comments and come back next month if we're prepared and look for an approval or conditional approval if we're headed in that direction. But that's all we're looking for tonight. It's just a public input so we can get all the comments we can possibly get.
Want to look at the application? Or do you want to wait until, it seems to me there's a lot that needs to be done before we can actually do too much. And we haven't had a chance to review Steve's list. How's the rest of the board doing?
Yeah, it's a look through. Looks like he come through this pretty good.
Yeah.
I'd like to digest it a little bit. I did have a few questions or suggestions. Now, you showed the design, we talked about landscape a little bit. The 4-foot retaining wall up front there. One of the things is, in Tilton, what we're working on is to try and just beautify the entrances to the town and make it look nice. I don't know if you've driven up here on a Friday night or a Saturday in the summer or even ski season. This is the exit everybody goes to do that. So, if it was something that was further back, shielded from the road, that would be different. So my thoughts, and it's my personal thoughts, and I think a lot of other people might agree. Like if you got a retaining wall, either use like a veneer stone or something on it as opposed to just concrete. I understand you want to keep it as low maintenance as possible, but have some green areas, some grass, some landscape, or even gardens, just some perennials that you put in every year, just to make it, so it doesn't look as industrial. And I think it also invites business to
You could even do it with planters of some type along the retaining wall.
I think those are, I mean, that's the type of suggestion we're looking for. I just want to make sure, and we can add that. We can talk to a landscape architect and come up with some small stuff, something that will make that look nice. We just want to do that if we were going to be asked to, change a lot of the site designs.
And I think you're right that right now that old dilapidated house is an eyesore. But, our concern is not doing away with the eyesore of the old house and then have an eyesore of a big industrial building that it's very cold and not very inviting to the Lakes region, because we really are the gateway of the Lakes region. Any other questions? I just, Tom, just let me ask one. I thought that budding lot, that lot that you bought some years ago had a lot of ledge. Does it not have ledge?
There's
No?
not a lot of ledge that we know of.
Okay. Okay, Tom, sorry.
No problem. I have a couple of concerns. One of them is the wetlands you plan where the big building is. You plan, now, you're gonna mitigate that, is that correct? You're gonna eliminate that?
The wetland.
Yeah.
Those two pocket wetlands,
Yeah.
you see hatch, we'll be filling those, right?
You'll be filling those?
Yes.
So are you gonna excavate those the wetland itself and then backfill it, or are you just gonna fill it in?
Oh, no, they would have to excavate all of the muck and stuff.
All the muck, yeah, we're
In
gonna
the
mark
back,
that.
in the back, that upper one's gonna be a big cut slope, so it's all gonna be cut out well below the wetland. The one that's actually mostly on the building.
I noticed on your plans that you have riprap in there.
We have riprap in some areas where we have outfalls to the detention basin. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
The other concern I have is, I'd just like to know what your intentions are with truck rentals and how heavy duty you're gonna get into that genre.
I just, yeah,
Nothing more than what we have now.
Nothing more than, say, 1 ton?
No, we don't go, what we have now is the 26-foot trucks. We're not going. U-Haul is for like average person like you to rent a truck. No one would.
You're not gonna do any commercial rentals, truck
No,
rentals at all?
No,
Okay.
that's everybody else.
It's not U-Haul anyway, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, U-Haul doesn't do
Well,
commercial.
I'm just, yeah.
Oh, sorry, I was making sure.
Yeah, I just,
We don't do, you talk about like a budget truck, like what Home
or a
Depot
straight
has,
truck,
like what Penske has with that lift gate. Yeah, we don't do any of that stuff.
Yeah, my concern was just the runoff from the fluids from the trucks, where it needs to be some kind of a filter system in your drainage.
Right.
And you need I think you also need to have a management plan for that filtering system, so that runoff of the automotive liquids doesn't go into those watershed areas.
Yeah, so
It's all right to put a filter in, but if you don't maintain it, it's not gonna work.
yeah, what we're doing here is all the water that's come from the pavement is going to go to a catch basin. So as soon as we have it in a catch basin, we're able to contain it and do whatever we want with it. So the first thing we can do is have hoods on the catch basins, which immediately separates out anything that's floating in the water from getting into our detention basins and treatment systems. So it's kind of the first opportunity to get exactly what you're talking about, any oil or hydrocarbons from the pavement, which is what we want to do. So that keeps that separate. We do have what we call an inspection and maintenance plan, which all DES requires us to have for these projects. Anything that has an alteration terrain permit needs an inspection and maintenance manual. So they'll be required to do annual maintenance, annual inspections, keep copies of all that records and submit it. DES calls out looking for those to make sure you have them. The town can request that they be made available to the town as well, if the town ever wants to see that that's happening. So we get that a lot, is a planning board will say, or an engineering department will say, we want those available to us if we ask for them. So they'll have to do that.
And you're not adding to your fleet. This has nothing to do with the fleet that you had. Your existing fleet is going to stay just the way it is now.
Yes,
Okay.
we're just going to move over to the other site. That's all.
Correct.
Thank you.
I know, just past history of that land, that there's a lot of hydrology stuff that's flowing in there. I don't know if you've done any study on that. So when you start coming to the bank,
Yes,
there'll be water flowing.
there's gonna be,
And I know you're going to go before the Conservation Commission, they're going to be super thorough. I just pointing out that this might be a big issue for you, and possibly you might want to think about putting in some type of mitigation button in the way of a fire pond, something, over towards like the golf course or something.
you know,
Which would-
with the water, yeah, we'll
Yeah.
have curtain drains or under drains in the back of the building to get any groundwater that's coming down there. We have a swale on the backside of that gravel area behind the building to get water that's coming off the slope. So there's definitely groundwater in that slope. Interestingly enough, the watershed area itself doesn't go very far up. It just pretty much just goes to our property line before it starts dropping off the other side and then drains back down. It's a much bigger wetland right down near the corner of our site where a lot of the other stuff comes down to. But most of what's draining down on this property is really just that hill that's on the property itself. But it is wet ground. Yeah.
Any other questions? You want to wait on the application?
Yes.
Okay. All right, so we'll wait on
So,
the approval of the application.
oh yeah, we weren't expecting
Okay.
approval,
All
I
right.
guess. You know,
No,
so
the application.
on the
I'm talking
acceptance
about.
of the completeness?
Yeah.
Okay. So it'll be continued, and just so I know that there's nothing you're looking for us to do other than meet with the Conservation Commission, address.
Get your permit, DES permit.
So we won't have our
Yeah.
DES permits by next month, say. Those take several months to get. So what we're accustomed to doing, what we'd like to do is get to the point where we can get a complete application and then an approval if we've satisfied all.
With various conditions.
With
correct.
conditions which include the state permits.
But understand, we just got this
Oh, yeah, that's fine.
Steve's report
Yeah.
tonight when everybody else did.
Yep.
And we would feel more comfortable if we could review this,
Sure,
okay?
that's fine. So we come back, we can come back next month.
Next month. So, yeah, and so what I think the board, and correct me if I'm wrong, is going to be looking for is when you come back the next time for completeness, would be, you'll have met with the Conservation Commission,
Yep.
right? I think some kind of a landscape
Yep.
plan of what you intend to do, review, address as many of the issues on Keach Nordstrom's
Yep.
as possible, including the lighting and the septic.
Yep.
We do have confirmation of your applications to DES and the alteration of terrain in the driveway. So we know those have been presented. What else? Anything else that you'd be looking for next time so that we don't have? That's one other thing I thought of.
Well, Tom brought up something that we are going to be concerned with, and that's the treatment of any runoff that you do have from any of the vehicles that you're moving to the other side.
So, so what I would like, so that, all that makes sense to me. I think
Okay.
that's a great approach. The one thing I may ask is that if there's specific comments about drainage, because I feel like our report that we've submitted addresses that, it may be worthwhile to have the board ask specific questions of Steve to comment on that.
Yeah, I didn't see anything that he had any issues with any of the
Yeah.
drainage. So, I mean, I can send a note to him saying the
Yeah.
board was particularly concerned with drainage. Or did he see any issues?
Yep.
And the Conservation Commission will
Yes, yep.
review that
So,
too.
yep,
with you.
I got that on my list. So
Okay.
I think he felt that was,
usually if we get an alteration of terrain permit, it's satisfying the concerns that anyone else is going to have. So that's usually what I say is if we get the alteration of terrain permit, we're going to be meeting any concerns the Conservation Commission has with the town engineer. And so we know we need to get an alteration of terrain.
I mean, he does have comments like, a cross section for the gravel wetland construction provided.
Yes. Yeah.
Providing elevations corresponding to medium material changes, and, there's a few of those. I think if you address,
We can get most of that addressed before the next meeting.
Okay.
The other thing was the septic design.
I said that,
Yeah.
I said
Yeah,
that.
yeah, I got that. Yep. So we'll work out all that stuff with Steve.
How many employees do you guys plan to have on site?
You have a caretaker who lives there,
Yeah,
and then it's two.
right now we have about 5 or 6 employees. It's going to be probably around the same.
Oh, I know that.
It's a very, I don't know if you guys are familiar, it's very low maintenance as
Yeah.
far as people want to know.
The last thing I had was just signage. You didn't really present anything with signage or what kind of, right?
Yeah,
Did
we
I see
haven't-
anything on there? Did I miss?
So, in addition to what's there, what we'll need to work on is if you guys are gonna have any signage on the building. You know, we're talking about any other monument signage, but we can talk about that. I mean, we'll need to comply with.
Whatever the regs are.
Hours of operation, or, you know, if you're having these containers that come in, get dropped off, people shipped, will that be limited to the hours when they can do the delivery of
What we're doing
those?
now, 7 to 7. And we have containers now that come in, for shipment, no one's ever noticed it. It's been different years. 7 to 7. You know, the main thing is I don't have someone outside the elements now. Snow, what snow that comes up, there's snow band that comes through. And dealing with this now, they're inside and everybody's safe. That's probably one of the biggest things. What's a safe place to work?
You know, I just got one more silly question.
Sure.
These containers that you have, how do you move them? How do you, you move them with a giant forklift,
It's
obviously.
not a giant fork.
Regular
Yeah.
forklift.
The reason why I say that, because don't get us confused with my box. They have to have a specialized forklift that's 3
Oh.
times the size of what I have. So it's not the same. They have that giant, I know what you're talking about.
Okay,
Yeah, because I want to make sure it's clear.
so you're gonna have one forklift on site?
Yes.
Okay. How do you transport these boxes?
What do you mean?
Well, say if somebody wants a box coming from Stonington, Connecticut to Tilton, New Hampshire, is that the responsibility of the customer, or is that some service that you provide?
Some customers will bring it on a trailer.
Yeah.
And some customers will have it sent via tractor trailer. So shipping company.
Oh, so it goes as freight,
Yeah,
basically?
right. And that's what they do now. It pulls-
You don't have anything to do with that?
No, it's third party.
Okay.
That's third party. They come in, it's literally 10 minutes.
It's just one of my concerns is tractor trailers coming at 3 o'clock in the morning to drop off 7 or 8 containers that come up from, down south.
Here's the hours of, we tell tractor trailer companies 9 to 4. That's it. We do not show up in the morning. We don't, they listen to us. It's 9 to 4 because they know we're not going to do it.
How big are the containers?
5 by 8s.
Oh.
That's
Yeah,
my
it's not-
thoughts.
They're not big. That's what I mean. They'll get us
Yeah.
confused.
Okay.
They're actually very small.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Yeah, okay,
okay.
Tom, that's why I want to say, don't get us confused. Those are like 10 by 20s down the street.
Yeah.
This is a 5 by 8. It's probably the size of that coffee table.
Okay.
Yeah.
Chip container.
Exactly.
That's what it is. Sorry.
You can bury your husband or wife in there.
Fueling?
Are you talking about the vehicles? We don't fuel our customers fuel their vehicles.
Well, the forklift,
Forklifts propane,
propane,
which we have already on site.
it's a lot easier.
Yeah.
And a lot of the stuff, you all's been around for years, Eric, and a lot of stuff we try to make self-sufficient, try to help, so we don't put more stress on towns or have to do more and ruin what we have now. So,
Sounds like you've done this before.
yeah, it's, and that's what we've learned, to just say, hey, this is what we're doing. We're trying to beautify the area. We're not trying to create, a big, we didn't want a shell. That's what I did not want to see. I want to see it. So I also ride a motorcycle too personally. And I know Bike Week, this is one of the busiest travel areas. And every time I see it, I'm like, wow. I'm like, people come up here. It's like, we try to put a banner that says welcome, because so many people travel, and I know it's a gateway coming in here. And I can tell over the last 3 or 4 years, driving up and down, what they've done at the Target outlets is they've stepped up their landscaping because somehow someone in here said it's time to step up your landscape and beautify the area. I'm not trying to ruin that. I want to join what they've done. Because it looks great. That's why now I sit down every day and drive by. When I do drive by, I'm like, oh, this house has got to go. Hopefully it doesn't go by itself, but
Okay,
I wasn't paying attention earlier. What is the August?
August 10.
That's a Tuesday.
Yeah, so
Right,
it's
I'm back
the
from-
second.
I'm back from vacations, but
Because there's 2 in August, if you want to
No, no,
continue to the,
I think that's fine. We can
Okay.
do that. It's going to be noticed here, so we don't have to send out notices.
correct.
Oh,
They're
good.
gonna make a motion.
Thank you very much.
thank you.
Thank you.
I think so. I think that. I'm like, am I going too fast?
So somebody just needs to make a motion to continue down to the date certain.
I'll make a motion to continue it until August 10th. Is there a second?
Second, Scanlon.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. All right, we'll see you August 10th.
Yep, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
All right, the next order of business is to approve the minutes of January 22nd. I mean, June 22nd, 2021. Everybody got their copy, had a chance to review them?
I have to abstain. I wasn't here.
I am right now.
What's that?
I write down.
Oh.
Okay. Any discussion on the minutes?
Yeah, it was just on the page, second to last page, the paragraph up here. So the-
Second to last.
Yes, not the last page, but the one before. See that?
Okay.
The concern, it's just that dirt basically built, dirt grass.
My page doesn't look like yours.
Where is that?
Am I on the same one? Or do I have a previous meeting?
The 22nd? All right, so just tell me what it is.
Um,
I'll take it.
Yeah, just, it says, duties during just ends of dirt.
What page?
In riprap, second to last page.
Oh, okay.
The last page on the left,
And you wanted to say what?
dirt and riprap. Yeah, there was, built.
Any other changes or comments?
Good job.
Okay, I make a motion to accept the minutes as amended of June 22nd, 2021. There's a second?
Second, Scanlon.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Abstain.
Can you ask Jim to sign
Next,
this?
next. We had a vice chair who,
I should have signed this before.
just a minute, I gotta sign this.
That's your lot merger.
Hmm?
That's your
Yeah, I
lot
know.
merger. And we'll just have to, I'll be notifying you just a fee for filing it at the registry of deeds. Like
This is
$6.
what's
I'll
today's
send you.
date?
Today is the 13th.
Yeah, copy of it, a copy of the merger, yeah, and that'll be done. The merger, though, won't be reflected on any maps till next year, because everything's April to April, and nothing can change until April of 2022.
We had a,
But it'll be recorded and done.
So my tax, I'll probably receive one tax bill instead of two now,
No,
not till next year.
until next year. Everything's based on the April to April year.
Sounds
Okay, yeah, so that won't, yeah, so your tax won't change next year.
good. And I can proceed with building my project?
You can proceed with getting a building permit to build. Yeah, so you come back to our office and get a building permit. Yep, and you'll get a letter from us saying the decision that was made tonight in writing and the vote, and you are approved to move forward with your building.
Sounds good. Thank you very
Okay.
much.
Thank you.
All right,
Nice
thank
meeting
you.
all of you.
Thanks, Mark.
Thanks.
We, our vice chair resigned, so we need to elect another vice chair. So I'm gonna open the floor for nominations for vice chair of the planning board. Hearing none, I'll nominate Fred Senna for vice chair.
You can see that if Christine's not here.
Well, she's got so much time off. Yeah. Is there a second?
I'll second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Do you accept it?
Oh, aye, yeah, sorry, I don't, yeah, sure.
We should ask that first.
Yeah, it's fine.
All right, and I have a couple of things. Last time we had a meeting, we talked about the letter that DOT had sent out about the changes to Route 3 along the way, and I did send a letter, which you should have a copy of. And believe it or not, I received the reply.
Yeah, I think everybody got the reply via
Yeah.
DOT, but
Yes,
here, I'll send
got
it.
it.
You got this one?
So what I think would be in order is that as we get closer, to have them come and actually sit down with us and talk to us so that we can do some input. And
I
I'd
also
like
think
permission-
Jeannie has been in touch with them as well.
What?
Jeannie, the Conservation Commission.
Yeah.
Everybody was on that list.
And I also found out why the planning board did not get a copy. Planning board's copy was sent to Billy Lawrence. Now, I've been on the planning board, I was trying to figure it out, almost 20 years. Billy Lawrence was on the planning board long before that. So apparently DOT only had Billy Lawrence's, their only correspondence with the planning board for this Department of Transportation
There it is right there.
with Billy Lawrence.
Right there.
So that's who the letter was sent to. So that's why it never got to us. So I just wanted to clear that up. I think it's kind of
They
interesting.
corrected that.
I'm
Oh,
gonna
who
call. I only got a copy of
That's
Billy
the DOT,
Lawrence
right?
letter
Yeah,
today.
it's DOT.
So I'm gonna call anyway to thank for the reply and ask if she can come and meet with us at some time in the future. And just voice the fact that one of our big concerns is the island. And
I think they're going to end up having a public hearing. A lot.
So what is the project for, that they're talking about?
well, they're saying the guardrail, but it involves more than the guardrail. It's changing the flow of the river and
Okay,
So
all kinds of
what
other
happened
things.
is, after years of just cutting the tops of those brush off.
Yeah.
As a grape grows, grows, you get a big stump,
exactly.
but little branches coming out. Well, those big stumps were growing up through the granite wall. So they separated the blocks. When they separated the blocks, the water started washing out. There's
Okay.
no drainage on 3 and 11 there, so it washed out behind it. They started falling into the river. The guardrails are rotting out. About 30 to 40% of those
You can
guardrails
pick 'em
are
up.
actually
Jesus.
rotted right off. So
Yeah.
it's a danger and it had to be addressed.
Yeah.
So the river is a class 4 waterway, level 4 waterway, which is one of the primary waterways in the state. And
Yeah.
it requires certain amounts of engineering.
Yeah.
And all that
Planning,
to
so.
get done. Originally, they noticed us that in September, they were going to come down, they had some plans, and they were going to put a 2-to-1 slope, go up 18 feet, put 2-to-1 slope and go in there. And this is what we're going to do. Do you have any comments? Well, as you can tell, the way the river flows, it hits that bank and it curves towards the island. So once they come out that farm, Now the water's going to shift.
Yeah.
Sand part or on Northfield is going to get washed out.
Exactly,
Where's that going to go? And now the water's behind different.
exactly.
So the idea is they ask for, you know, if we're looking for mitigation or anything, and we're like, oh yeah.
And if you go stand on the island, you can really see what
You
the
can
impact.
eyeball.
Oh, yeah, exactly, yeah.
You can see the flow. And
Yeah.
so now you know the flow, once you do that, it's going to be over there. Of course, narrowing it increases velocity.
Exactly,
So we're,
causing washouts and.
so the Historical Society has asked for more time and more information and to meet with them to get. They're involved in showing them some pictures of the wall, how it originally was, and the historical significance, along with was the 7 to save the island and the bridge. The, yeah, and so on, the Conservation Commission with the water. It was around 12,500 cubic feet of water they're displacing.
Jesus.
So
Yeah.
it's,
That much?
yeah, 525 feet
Yeah.
of along. So if you look at, so we did the calculation, came up with that much water. Different.
Yeah, that's great.
And we'll get some more increased flows. That's all going on with Franklin. So it's a big thing. So I think, and Jane Lee and since on behalf of the planning board saying, yeah, we got interest in it too.
Yeah.
So they delayed it. What did they say?
Any other business?
They delayed it from September till next year.
22.
Oh, they did?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what the letter, read the letter.
Yeah, they really, yeah, we go.
Yeah, until later this fall, September.
22.
I mean, it says they're gonna reach out to you guys again when they're ready
Yeah.
for the data. So,
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? All right, let's go race with zero turnover. Yep, thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Rodeo.
Thank you.
Hmm?
Rodeo.
Rodeo.
How fast